This needs to stay locked down.
The Greys?
In every era, people have looked to the sky and wondered who else might be out there. Among the most persistent ideas is the presence of the Greys. Let's explore the past, present, and potential future of a mysterious species. Many accounts point toward distant binary stars. These systems offer stable orbits and long lifespans, ideal conditions for an intelligent species to rise and expand. The story begins millions of years ago, in a region of space far from Earth. Researchers and theorists suggest the Greys evolved on a dim world where light was scarce and survival demanded precision. Stories from many cultures include sky visitors. While no hard evidence connects these tales to the Greys, the similarities keep the discussion alive. Someone was already painting them, on stone, in the dark, with trembling hands and absolute certainty. What they saw was real, and what they painted has never stopped being reported. Archaeology has a comfortable explanation for ancient art, ritual, mythology, the human mind imposing meaning on the chaos of existence. And for most cave art, that explanation holds. But threaded through that record, on every continent, in cultures with zero contact with each other, separated by oceans and millennia, a different figure appears. Not an animal, not a human. Something with a skull too large for its body, eyes that fill half the face, a posture of absolute stillness while everything around it moves. The same figure, painted 10,000 miles apart, painted 10,000 years apart, identical. The comfortable explanation does not survive that fact. The Kimberley custodians do not call these myths. They call them memories. The distinction matters. The Saharan painters recorded a figure 18 feet tall in their painting, flanked, attended, surrounded by humans looking up at something that did not look back down. In India, a state archaeology department asked NASA for help. NASA did not answer. In Tanzania, 29,000 years ago, someone recorded 3 figures with heads too large for their bodies. Before history, before civilization, before the concept of either existed. In Utah, the Holy Ghost has watched the canyon for 9,000 years, still watching. And the same figure appears, elevated above the builders, directing, present. The cave paintings end. The megalithic structures begin. Watching what was being built. And myth becomes method. The same presence remains, overseeing what we still don't understand. And after 29,000 years of watching this species, something has changed. Not in them, in the frequency of their presence, in the rank of those appearing. They are no longer sending scouts. The overseers are here. July 8th, 1947, Roswell, New Mexico. The United States Army issued a press release that shook the world. They had recovered a, quote, flying disc. Within 24 hours, the story changed. It was a weather balloon, they said, but the witnesses had already talked. Rancher Mac Brazel found the debris on his property, Foster Ranch, 75 miles north of Roswell. He described material unlike anything he had ever seen. Thin as foil, impossible to bend, impossible to burn.
Keep this contained.
And something else on that field. Something that was not debris. Pathologist reports from witnesses who claim to have been present describe the internal anatomy as unlike anything in human or animal biology. No digestive system as we understand it.
The gray just telepathically told me it's self-healing?
And a brain, larger in proportion than our own, divided not into two hemispheres, but four. They came forward one by one. Military personnel, scientists, pilots, farmers. People with everything to lose and nothing left to hide. 135 miles northwest of Las Vegas lies a place that, officially, does not exist. Groom Lake, Dreamland, the ranch. But the world knows it by another name, Area 51. And beneath it, deeper still, a facility so classified it appeared on no government document. They called it S4. In 1989, a physicist named Bob Lazar went on television and said what no one was supposed to say. He described 9 disc-shaped craft stored in hangars built into the Papoose mountain range. He described briefing documents. Ancient contact. Beings from Zeta Reticuli. He described an element, element 115, that science had not yet confirmed. It was confirmed in 2003. They called it Moscovium. September 7th, 1967, Alamosa County, Colorado. A horse named Lady, known as Snippy, was found dead in a field. Her neck and head had been stripped of flesh to the bone. No blood, no tracks, no predator marks. The surrounding soil showed elevated radiation levels. It would be the first of thousands. Investigators documented the same calling card across hundreds of cases, spanning 30 years. Eyes removed, tongue excised, genitals and rectum cored with geometric precision. No serration, no tearing, as if cut with a beam of focused heat. always, always, no blood, not a single drop. Seven men drove into the White Mountains of Arizona on a routine logging job. By nightfall, one of them would be gone. Travis Walton would not return for 5 days. His crew would fail polygraph tests, not because they were lying, but because they were terrified. They saw it through the trees, an oval disc hovering, glowing amber and gold. Travis got out of the truck. He walked toward it. Then the beam hit him, and he was gone. Walton described waking on a table, low ceiling, warm, humid air. 3 figures around him, large heads, dark eyes, pale grey skin. He screamed, and then... And then a human figure appeared. Tall, a helmet, a suit, an expression of nothing. He was placed under something, and everything went dark again. November 10th, 1975. A payphone rang at a gas station outside Heber, Arizona. It was Travis Walton. He had lost 5 days. He had lost 6 pounds. 6 of his 7 crewmates passed their polygraph examinations.
Please remain calm and answer truthfully. This will take a few moments.
The 7th refused to take one. His story never changed, not in 50 years. Falkirk Triangle, Scotland. Centred around Bonnybridge, this area near Falkirk in central Scotland became one of Europe's most active UFO hotspots from the early 1990s onward. Local businessman James Walker is credited with bringing early reports forward, and former town councillor Billy Buchanan campaigned for a government inquiry. The triangular area roughly covers Bonnybridge, Falkirk and Stirling. Among the evidence gathered from the Falkirk Triangle, one photograph stood apart. Taken in the early 1990s by a local resident above the Bonnybridge area. A triangular craft, solid, low, lit from beneath by 3 points of white light. Unlike anything in the civilian or military inventory of the time, the negative was never found to be manipulated. Falkirk Town Councillor Billy Buchanan became the unofficial spokesperson for a community demanding answers. He wrote to prime ministers. He lobbied parliament. He went on every television program that would have him. His constituents weren't frightened people seeking attention. They were engineers, nurses, teachers, people who knew what they saw. They are small, precise, and they have been here longer than our records dare to admit. Ebons, also known as the Greys. Physical profile. Height ranges. Group A, 3 to 4 feet. Group B, 6 to 7 feet. Anatomy. Skin appears smooth and uniform, with no visible pigmentation. Head size disproportionate to body. Strong cranial dome. Eyes large, dark, reflective. No visible pupils. Mouth narrow, often described as a thin horizontal slit. Hands contain 3 or 4 elongated fingers. Movement described as smooth and controlled. Body structure suggests low muscular output, but high efficiency. Some theories suggest the Greys can cross dimensions. If true, they may not travel through our space at all. They might pass between states of reality. Some reports mention distinct groups, differences in height, posture, and eye shape. Suggest multiple branches of the same species or allied species with similar traits. This is the moment the narrative shifts from strange visitors to something with structure, and that's far more unsettling. The tall Greys are described differently. They do not collect, they do not measure. They observe, they decide, they communicate, not through sound, but directly into the mind, with a clarity that witnesses describe as the most terrifying thing about the entire encounter. Not because it is painful, but because it is familiar. In the oldest accounts, those cross-referenced against independent testimonies the researchers were not supposed to have access to, the tall Greys are linked to a different sky entirely. Not Zeta Reticuli, Orion. The constellation that human civilizations across every continent, with no contact between them, chose to mark in stone, in myth, and in the alignment of their most sacred structures. Coincidence? Or a message, left in the only language guaranteed to survive? Some who have encountered both types describe the relationship plainly. The short ones answer to the tall ones. The tall ones answer to no one we have ever seen. What that means for the abductions, for the mutilations, for the craft retrieved from the New Mexico desert in 1947, is a question governments have had 70 years to answer. They have not answered it. Which tells you everything and nothing all at once. They have been here longer than our history remembers, longer than our oldest stones, longer than our first words. We call them the Greys. Large black eyes that hold no warmth, pale skin stretched over frail frames that should not be alive, and yet they are. Because they solved death the only way a dying species can. They stopped being born and started being made. Their biology had collapsed. Centuries of cloning had hollowed them out, emotionless, sterile, fading. So they turned to us, to humanity, rich in genetic diversity, overflowing with the biological material they had lost across 1,000 generations of replication. In the dead of night, they take, silently, precisely. A farmer in Kansas, a fisherman off the coast of Norway. They harvest DNA, RNA, cellular structures we don't yet have names for, weaving human genetic code into their own degraded blueprint. And then they build something new. Hybrids, pale but passable, quiet but curious, walking among us in cities, in offices. On crowded trains, faces that almost fit, eyes that almost smile. They are neither human nor grey. They are the bridge between a dying world and a conquered one, patient, watching, waiting for a signal that only they can hear. But the program does not end at the laboratory. Beneath our feet, miles below the surface, carved into bedrock that no human drill has ever reached, their bases pulse with cold light. Beneath the Pacific, beneath the Atlantic, beneath the frozen floors of ancient lakes. Vast, pressurized complexes where the geometry is wrong, where the air tastes like metal, where time does not move the way it should. We have stumbled into them before. Military submarines that descended too deep and never resurfaced. Deep-sea research teams whose last transmissions were nothing but static and one repeated word. Divers who surfaced 300 kilometers from where they went under, unable to speak, unable to explain the burns that covered their hands.
We pulled you out 300 kilometers from the nearest dive site.
There was nothing on the water, nothing on radar. Just you. And that light. What was it?
The Greys are not visitors. They are not curious. They are not here to make contact. They are here because this planet is part of a project that was decided before your great-great-grandmother drew her first breath. And the bases, those dark, humming cathedrals beneath the ocean floor, are not hidden out of fear. They are hidden because what happens inside them is not meant for human eyes. We are not the dominant species on this planet. We are the crop. And the harvest is ongoing. Thank you for watching. 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 Thank you for watching.